There have been powerful cars before, but few as powerful as this, and even fewer with the support and technical backup of a major automotive franchise. This car is exceptional, and it has been built for people with exceptional standards. This car is the Subaru Impreza P1.
P? Well, it stands for ProDrive. The P1's been developed by the very same team at ProDrive that puts together the Subaru World Rally cars. World champions 3 times since 1995, and a record of which we're obviously very proud.
Richard Burns could sense victory as he started the day consistently beating the times of his teammate. On stage 18, the speed trap recorded Burns at 206 kilometres an hour, compared to 203 kilometres an hour for Kankkunen.
And easy left, and keep left over crest to long easy right stop, forward, and flat left over crest. And easy.
With all this success on the rally stages, we were keen that drivers in the UK could have the opportunity to buy an Impreza that came closest to replicating the performance of the competition car. We knew that the engine in the Japanese WRX had the power, but we needed to re-engineer this to meet European emissions and noise regulations. What we had to do next was come up with a chassis and aerodynamics that were suited to our local conditions and could make use of all that power.
And the success continues. This is the Rally of Great Britain, the premier event in Britain's rallying calendar. Last year it was won by Richard Burns in the Subaru Impreza. But that's not all. Juha Kankkunen, also in a Subaru, was second. Once again, the Impreza dominated the event.
Creating a road car inspired by the World Rally Championship Impreza took dedicated teamwork. Although ProDrive had a major role to play in the development of the Impreza P1, it also involved months of painstaking work by Subaru UK and our colleagues in Subaru Japan, especially their motorsport division, Subaru Technica. Our aim? To produce a stunningly fast but safe car with class-leading ride, handling and road holding. Inevitably, production is limited, and only 1,000 units of the P1 will ever be built.
Everyone knows Subaru make fast cars. In this case, very fast indeed. But we also knew that whoever bought the P1 would want more than just outright speed. So we had to make a car that was also a pleasure to drive, not hard work.
A pleasure, not hard work. Before that would become true, the P1 had an awful lot of power that had to be tamed. The 280 PS engine output of the Impreza P1 elevates Impreza power to new heights. Torque was also up, from 214 pounds-foot to 253 pounds-foot. 0 to 60 miles per hour was now a mere 4.6 seconds, and the top speed had risen to a massive 155 miles an hour.
With a car as fast as this, that had to mean road holding that quite simply would be second to none. The P1's performance is on a par with both the Porsche Boxster and a Ferrari 456M GTA. However, it began life with one advantage that they didn't have, despite their expensive price tags. That was the Subaru all-wheel drive system. This was to give a significant advantage in all weather conditions. This is a car that has been developed for Britain, and as you may have noticed, it sometimes rains here. That's why the Impreza P1 has a centre differential with viscous coupling. When it's dry, the torque is distributed 60-40 between the front and rear wheels. But in the wet, or when it's muddy or icy, the coupling senses which axle has most grip and distributes more torque to it. And that is in addition to the limited slip differential, which is a standard feature on the Impreza Turbo. So not only do you have more torque automatically going to the right axle, it also goes to the individual rear wheel where it will do the most good.
An exciting car developed for British conditions and satisfying the demanding safety and environmental requirements of European type approval. In a nutshell, that is what Subaru UK demanded from the P1.
Those demands have been met in full measure. But we wanted more. We wanted the Impreza P1 to be good enough to take on all comers and win.
Homologation is normally the art of the downright difficult. Building the car that you want, which your customers like, and to which also meets the approval of officials who sit in judgment. With the P1 there was a school of thought that believed that this time we had moved from the difficult to the impossible. How were we, for instance, going to retain the phenomenal 280 PS power output and still fit in with the rigorous noise limits? Well, one thing we could do was to replace the normal twin catalytic converters with an advanced single high density catalyst. The other target we could reach were exceptional levels of acceleration, which would give us another decibel to play with. 1 decibel may not sound like much, but we needed all the help we could get.
Well, we did it. Those additional demanding acceleration standards required 25 metres to be covered in less than 1.6 seconds in third gear. We knew the engine had the power. What we had to do was ensure that all of the improvements we were making in the car's handling didn't affect the performance figures. However, a supercar that only goes fast in a straight line is no use to anyone, so we went to work on the chassis in a big way.
The ProDrive team spent the whole of last summer working on the P1 chassis. We had set ourselves the target of developing the best real-world driver's car available versus the very best in the market. In the UK, we typically have sweeping A roads and pitching B roads, and these were the conditions we kept in mind. We studied and tested every possible permutation of spring, damper and anti-roll bar. We knew that the Japanese specification, Subaru WRX, is too hard at the front and too soft at the back for our roads. It creates front-end patter, and that can often stop the power being used to its full potential. It may not necessarily be unsafe, but it would certainly reduce any driver's confidence. It was something we were determined to eradicate.
That wasn't all we eradicated. We found a way to remove every technical, logistical and legal barrier leading to full European acceptance of the P1. As far as the European Type Approval Authority was concerned, the two-door model did not exist and was only sold in Japan. The first stage in the approval process, therefore, was concerned with adding the two-door base model to the European whole vehicle type approval. This required us to obtain extensions to over 33 individual component and system approvals, such as the barrier crash test, seat strength test and brake test. Due to the differences between the base model and the P1, the second stage approval process covered the witness testing and type approval of the P1 with high performance engine, suspension, electronic equipment and components specific to the Impreza P1. The witness testing of emissions, noise and other relevant tests was carried out in the UK at Millbrook, with the electromagnetic compatibility testing being performed at Myra. The high performance engine power test was carried out in Japan and again was witnessed by the approval authority. As part of the approval process and after a quality assurance assessment by the approval authority, Subaru UK Limited was officially classified as the second stage manufacturer.
But already the press had got wind of the fact that something special was going on between Subaru UK and ProDrive. And in the true traditions of automotive journalism, they managed to get spy photographs of the new car. These are the pictures they published. They reported that ProDrive were using what was accepted as the best riding Impreza at that time, the Subaru Impreza RB5 as their benchmark. And they were right. They had also spotted the car being tested at both the Millbrook and Myra circuits, so they were pretty confident Subaru were going for full type approval. What they didn't know, though, was just how good looking the car would be, or how well equipped it was. The looks of the P1 are not merely cosmetic. They are the end result of analysing the driver's needs and then meeting them. They are also the result of creating that simplicity and elegance of line that drivers of such cars expect. The P1 is easy to recognise. It is the first official type-approved Impreza with a two-door saloon body. It was decided to highlight its exclusivity by making it available in one colour only, the Sonic Blue, similar to the Impreza World Rally car. Inside, the driving compartment is calm and efficient, and it stays that way with air conditioning as a standard feature, dials and controls closely to hand. Sport seats are fitted in the front, with the driver's seat being tilt-adjustable. The leather-covered quick-shift gear change with its shorter throw is nearby, prepared for action. The matching Momo steering wheel with a fast 15:1 ratio rack, ready to act positively to the touch. The P1's exclusivity is also obvious in the exterior details. The colour-keyed mirrors, door handles and side skirts, the special 90mm Hella H4 front driving lamps, the new titanium effect 10-spoke ProDrive OZ wheels, and the deep front spoiler and impressive rear spoiler, all designed by Peter Stevens, the highly respected British designer responsible for both the Subaru World Rally car and the McLaren F1.
The rear spoiler is impressive, but not just because of its looks. Indeed, a designer with a reputation like Peter Stevens never designs for looks alone. The spoiler is a result of extensive wind tunnel testing, all aimed at helping us reduce lift and lower drag. And if you think that these things don't make much difference, let me just point out that this has resulted in the P1 requiring 3 less brake horsepower at 100 miles an hour.
The Impreza P1 engenders a feeling of confidence in the driver that can only be achieved through engineering excellence. The striking two-door body shell incorporates a solid rear bulkhead that not only provides protection, but also produces greater rigidity, which in turn improves handling even further. The unusual rear window wiper provides exceptional rear view visibility, but perhaps its greatest safety feature is something which few grey imports have: 4-channel ABS anti-lock braking. Together with the powerful ventilated front and rear disc brakes, it produces the sort of controlled, predictable braking that no supercar should be without.
As well as peace of mind and a clear conscience, the benefit of this, of course, is that every P1 owner gets the full Subaru UK 3-year or 60,000 miles warranty, a 6-year anti-corrosion warranty and 3 years free home and roadside assistance, along with the expert help, parts and servicing that our JD Power award-winning UK dealer network provide.
Quite simply, There is no other car that offers the level of performance that the Subaru Impreza P1 does at anywhere near the price. We wanted it to outperform the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 and the BMW M3 for performance, for ride, for handling, in fact for sheer exhilaration. And we have no doubt it does. But don't just take my word for it. Let's just see the car in action. The Impreza P1 really is a supreme driver's car. By that, I don't mean that it's a boy racer's car. It's far too good for that. It's a car for people who enjoy power, but are also mature enough not to abuse it. It's for people who get their thrills out of doing something well.
The awesome power of the Subaru Impreza P1 isn't for everyone. Only a few will appreciate how to exploit its performance responsibly and safely. But for those people, it will be the experience of a lifetime. The development team, who put in hundreds of hours of testing in order to evaluate every single characteristic, included both professional test drivers and experienced high-performance motorists who cover vast mileages. This gathering of the talents has helped the P1 achieve what many thought impossible: a blend of spine-tingling performance and impeccable road manners. Not to mention over 30 miles per gallon on the extra urban cycle. But not, of course, when you drive it like this. Just look at that. The development of the suspension system has enhanced the immediacy of control. The weight and feel are better, turning is sharper, and there's no hint of twitchiness fed back to the driver.
At the London Motor Show, the honour of unveiling the new Impreza P1 went to Britain's #1 rally driver, Richard Burns. But even before then, the press were clamouring for details. Autocar ran a front cover headline 2 weeks before the show, on October the 6th, saying, "Brit chassis gurus reveal £30,000 Evo 6 smasher," which confirmed that we had succeeded in achieving exactly what we set out to do. The only car the magazine could find to compare it with were other Subaru Impreza models. And Evo magazine quite simply said, "Subaru Impreza P1, first amongst equals." The car did attract the attention of quite a few car buffs that were around at the time. But it was when the press reports were studied in full that it became obvious just what an outstanding success the Subaru Impreza P1 was destined to be. Evo magazine then went on to say, "There's a sense of cohesion about the P1, a balance of weight and feel to all its major controls that seems matched to engine response and suspension control. the car doesn't feel like a modified Impreza. Rather like many of the best drivers' cars, it feels like a package of perfectly complementary parts that have been honed and lapped together to create a deeply satisfying whole. Vicky Butler Henderson in Top Gear wrote, "The 2-litre engine has a hefty 278 brake horsepower with 260 pounds-foot of torque, split 60-40 front and rear. And as soon as you hit the gas, you'll fall head over heels for the P1. Then she added, I want one. Mike Duff in Car magazine seemed equally impressed. He pointed out that ordinary Impreza turbos sort of tweak playfully with the edges of the laws of physics. The P1 sits down and rewrites them. 2 months later, Car magazine continued with a road test comparison between 6 different turbocharged Subaru Impreza variants. Their verdict? They're all capable of running rings around supercars that cost 10 times as much. It's just that the P1 is the very best of them all. Like everyone else, Autocar was stunned by the P1's performance. Commenting on the car's acceleration to 60 in under 5 seconds and its top speed of over 150 miles per hour, they wrote, "This will make it one of the fastest cars on the road," but then sensibly reminded everyone, and if you throw in the security and traction afforded by its unobtrusive 4-wheel drive, it should be one of the safest.
We wanted to create the ultimate Impreza for UK driving conditions. Not only have we achieved it, we'd gone far beyond what was strictly necessary to make this car pass European regulations, yet still deliver quite exceptional performance. I have to say, it's a car we are very proud of.
Yes, we are proud of what we've achieved. The Subaru Impreza P1 is a car that our team can be proud of, as can the fortunate few who will own one. So there are 2 more letters P for the list. Along with pedigree, peace of mind, performance, perfect handling, presence, passion, and of course, pro-drive, you can now add the pride that comes from possessing one of the world's finest and most exclusive cars.